Hi, it's me again, that elephant guy. So, I'm gonna compare today the Viltrox 56mm 1.4 against the new Yongnuo YN 50mm and f1.8X. And the X stands here for X mount. There is a difference here because you can buy this Viltrox for Fujifilm X mount, for Sony E mount, for Canon EF-M mount, and also for Nikon Z mount, and the Yongnuo is currently available only for Fujifilm X mount. So I'll take the hoods off so that you can see those lenses closely without extras. As you may see, the Yongnuo lens is a bit bigger and it is almost 100 grams heavier than the Viltrox. The Viltrox is about 300 grams and the Yongnuo is almost 400 grams, and you can feel this a little bit when you hold them in your hands. Then the Yongnuo has a broad focusing ring. This huge ring is used both for focusing and changing your aperture. You can see your aperture on this LCD screen, which I'll show you a bit later. The Viltrox lens has two control rings. One is for aperture and the other one is for manual focusing. There is one difference worth mentioning. The Yongnuo has a concave front element. The Viltrox has a usual curved lens. You may see that the front lenses here look different, and this concave element that we encounter in the Yongnuo lens is something rare. So let's mount those lenses on my Fujifilm XS10. The Yongnuo lens feels a bit bulky and heavy, so you can feel this lens in your hands. If you use other Fujifilm body, for example Fujifilm XE series or even Fujifilm XT series, such as X-T3, X-T4, X-T5, which doesn't offer you such a large grip, such comfortable grip. Holding such Fujifilm bodies with large lenses is not so comfortable because you need a large handle such as Fujifilm XS10, XS20 or XH2, XH2S, bodies with large grips that allow you to use such lenses comfortable. It isn't light. So concerning this small screen, if you put this switch on the position 1, then you control the aperture by rotating this large ring. When you rotate it clockwise till the end, then you'll see the auto sign, which means that now you can control your aperture from your camera. So now I can use the front wheel to change my aperture, because otherwise in any other position than the auto you won't be able to use your front wheel. If you switch this to position 2, then you can't control your aperture, and in this case you won't be able to control it with the front wheel either, so your aperture remains fixed at the number that you see on your screen. But now if you put your camera in manual focus mode, then you'll be able to change your focus with this ring. And to my opinion, this is not quite convenient, because you have to spend some time to get accustomed to this type of control. In my personal opinion, it's more convenient to put this to auto like this, then switch it to position 2, and to forget about this ring and this switch. So now I can change my aperture with this front dial, and if I want to use manual focus, I'll turn it on and off from the camera menu. But of course you have the option to change your aperture with this electronic wheel. Personally, I don't like electronic wheels because you don't feel it. So let's compare it with the Viltrox lens, which is a bit lighter. When I put the Viltrox lens here, yes, it is lighter. I can change the aperture with this ring that has no aperture clicks. You just put it into position that you want to. But there is one interesting feature about this ring, that if you're in photo mode, then it changes your aperture. And the letter A means that you can control it from your camera. But this is in photo mode. If you go to video mode, then this ring changes nothing. You control your aperture from your camera independently from what this ring says to you. But this is in video mode, and so it works. And as for the front ring, and then it's easy. If you put your camera in manual focus, it works for manual focus, and if you put it in autofocus, it doesn't work. And one more feature about these rings, if you compare Yongnuo, the Yongnuo lens has a very large throw of this control ring, so So when you rotate it, you change your aperture, you change your focus very slowly. And this is how it works, you like it or not. And the Viltrox is the opposite, because here you change your focus in a very fast way. You make a small movement and it changes quickly, instantly, from point to point. It depends on your type of work, what you prefer more. So this lens allows you for more soft, more deep focus pulls if you need them. And the Viltrox focus ring is completely different because it moves very quickly. As for the overall handling, the Viltrox lens is more comfortable because it's smaller and lighter. By the way, both lenses have the possibility to update their firmware. Viltrox has micro USB port here on your lens mount, and the Yongnuo has USB Type-C port, which is situated here, as you see. One more difference, the Yongnuo has weather sealing rubber gasket and the Viltrox doesn't have any. These two lenses have similar autofocus mechanism, so the Viltrox has STM motor and the Yongnuo has DSM motor, both of which are step motors, which work, to my opinion, equally nice, so you'll have no problems with these lenses. Any autofocus problems which you may encounter using such lenses on Fujifilm body will refer to the Fujifilm body, not the lenses. I have made some autofocusing tests, so you can see the difference. Personally, I see little to no difference in terms of autofocus concerning these two lenses. You will have no autofocus issues. And now the most interesting part is the image quality. So, concerning image quality, this Viltrox lens is definitely not so good as the Yongnuo lens. When shooting wide open, you may see corner softness on the Viltrox lens, and the Yongnuo lens is perfect starting from open 1.8, and if you close your aperture, you'll be doing this only for using your depth of field, because in terms of quality, this Yongnuo lens is truly pro grade, and you can see the pro sign here. They wrote the word pro, which means that it is for pro users that are most demanding and who want to pixel peep every pixel on every corner of your image. So, for example, if you have high pixel Fujifilm bodies such as Fujifilm X-T5 or X-H2 with their demanding 40 megapixel sensors, then this Yongnuo lens is definitely for you. But I wouldn't say that the Viltrox lens is bad. In terms of sharpness, although it is not ideal, f1.4 is totally usable. At the center of the frame it is sharp. If you compare these two lenses, then you'll notice that the Yongnuo is as crisp as a lens can be. So yes, it is a little bit sharper, but the Viltrox lens is sharp too. I wouldn't say that this is a soft lens, it's a nice lens too. But again, if you compare them, then the Yongnuo is a definite winner. But sharpness is not everything. There is one problem concerning this Viltrox lineup. I mean Viltrox 23 1.4, Viltrox 33 millimeters 1.4, and this one 56 1.4. Because if you shoot against bright light, then you'll counter loss of contrast and such a hazy, foggy pictures. These Viltrox lenses, I mean this lineup 23, 33 and 56, namely these three lenses don't like shooting against bright light because you'll encounter some problems. And also these lenses suffer from chromatic aberrations when shooting wide open. The Yongnuo lens is perfect in terms of technical quality. If you're shooting against bright light, your picture remains sharp and contrasty with no fog that you see with the Viltrox lens. The difference is really great. But the Viltrox lens has advantage in terms of aperture and its focal length. This Viltrox 56 1.4 will give you more autofocus backgrounds, so if you're using this lens for portraits, your background will be more blown out, you'll get more bokeh, and you have additional half a stop of light if you're shooting in dim conditions. The Yongnuo lens is only 50 millimeters f1.8, you will have to push your ISO a little bit higher than on the Viltrox lens. Going to conclusions, I will say that it may be a tough choice between these two lenses because they have a similar cost. With the Yongnuo lens you will have better picture quality, and this lens allows you to shoot in more variety of shooting conditions, because if you are shooting in a bright sun under harsh conditions, then the Viltrox lens sometimes may give you really bad results. But what I can tell you from my personal experience, it depends whether you use these lenses more for photography or more for videography, because when you're shooting video, these problems with chromatic aberrations, with soft corners, or even with this loss of contrast against the bright light, they're not so important and not so visible, unlike the situation with the photography work. If you're mainly a photographer and if you're shooting outdoors in different condition, then the Yongnuo lens will be more pleasing to you. From a photographer's standpoint of view, I can tell you it depends on how you're viewing your photos. Do you use a large screen of your computer with 27 inches or 32 inches or maybe more, and you like to zoom your photo to look at its sharpness, to its technical qualities? And I say, why not? It's a pleasure to have sharp and contrasty photos, and the Yongnuo lens is definitely for you. But if you shoot mostly in JPEG and you don't pixel peep, so you don't look at your photos at 100% magnification or 200% magnification, if you shoot JPEG and share your photos in social media without extra pixel peeping, then the Viltrox lens may be also for you, because it gives you more bokeh, and physically it's a little smaller and lighter, and these are also advantages for the Viltrox lens. One more small thing, the Yongnuo has plastic lens hood and the Viltrox has metal lens hood. So as for the lens hoods, Viltrox wins, but this lens hood doesn't save this Viltrox from losing contrast when shooting against light. This lens hood just feels better in your hands, and that's all. With lens hoods attached, you see that Yongnuo is definitely bigger. I must say that both lenses are fun and pleasure to use, and you won't be mistaken if you choose either of them. That is all for today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye.